Surah Al-Isra, the Ascension. Juz 15 begins with this late Meccan surah. It briefly mentions the Prophet ﷺ's miraculous ascension, his amazing night journey from Mecca to Jerusalem and then to the celestial heights, finishing in the divine presence. The journey is an announcement of the timeliness of the message of the Prophet ﷺ for the entire world and points to the coming of the glory of Islam. The ascension took place on the 27th of Rajab, 17 months before the Hijrah in the year of sorrow. The purpose of this two-phase journey was to show him our signs. This is followed by a passage retelling two historical events that devastated the Jewish community. In 586 BC, the Babylonians destroyed the Temple of Solomon and took the Israelites in captivity. The second event occurred in 70 CE at the hands of the Roman Emperor Titus. He persecuted and expelled the Jews from Jerusalem. Some think this passage hinted to the conquering of Jerusalem in the Khilafat of Umar, but not a soul was killed. The essence of the Quran is described as a guidance to the straightest path. It reveals an explanation of the divine proofs and the disbelievers' inability to understand them. Life is a test of faith. The majestic Quran is a recitation at dawn with special effects, providing healing and divine kindness. It is an imitable masterpiece, full of powerful arguments and the truth revealed in clear, bite-sized chunks. The essence of humanity is described as hasty. That's why we crave instant gratification and want immediate results. It also may explain why people love the now, the fleeting world, instead of the everlasting hereafter. To help humanity overcome this weakness, this surah presents a new, just and peaceful way of living. It outlines a new world order. Here people are kind, patient and forgiving. It is summarized in the 10 commandments announced in this surah. Worship Allah, care for parents, give to the needy, give up the 7 deadly sins, wastefulness, miserliness, murder, adultery, dishonesty, blind imitation and arrogance. The Quran warns humanity that Satan will exert his maximum effort to misguide and so be on guard, though Allah's true servants will be protected from his insinuations. The Messenger ﷺ was devout and spiritual, so a special night vigil is recommended for him. Wake up at night to offer voluntary prayer that is only for you. Soon your Lord will raise you to a glorious station of praise. The mystery of the human soul. They ask you about the soul. Say the soul is my Lord's command and you have been given little knowledge about it. The surah opens with the miracle of the Prophet ﷺ and at the end mentions the 9 miracles of Musa Al-Islam witnessed by the Pharaoh and the Israelites. Surah Al-Kahf, the cave. Juz 15 continues with this Meccan surah which contrasts the nature of the spiritual and the material world, one permanent, the other temporary, one seen and the other unseen. Humanity is tempted by the attractions of the material world but fails to realize the importance of spiritual life. These contrasts are illustrated by 5 stories. Each story is followed by a terse and helpful commentary which instills the love, majesty and grandeur of Allah. The 5 stories are: the story of the sleepers in the cave is about young men of faith, serious believers, unwilling to compromise their faith. They confronted society's evil and abandoned their families to save their faith from an oppressive ruler. The story illustrates Allah's power of resurrection, bringing the dead to life. The second story is the story of the poor, and the rich man reveals the nature of this greedy. The fourth story is the story of Musa Al-Islam and Khidr, the sage who explains serendipity, making chance discoveries and understanding things which you weren't looking for. The paradox of outward actions and inner meanings. What happens to be harmful turns out to be beneficial, and the loss becomes a gain. The lesson is that we should accept Allah's will since His plan is mysterious and full of wisdom and our understanding only partial. The fifth story is the story of Zulqarnain. The mighty ruler challenges the view that the world must be abandoned for spiritual growth. It shows that it is not necessary to gain paradise. What is needed is Allah consciousness. The underlying theme in these stories is major temptations that individuals face with regards to faith. Young men feared the emperor who would forcefully convert them. Our faith is always being challenged by society. How well we face these challenges depends on the strength of our faith. The company of righteous people can help to develop a strong faith. Wealth. We are tempted by wealth. We love it, and when wealth opposes religious duties, we often prefer wealth. We are unable to sacrifice it and unable to spend it for the good of others. The solution is to avoid such deep attachment to the knowledge, competence and skills often lead to arrogant behavior. Resistance against this is found in humility and in recognizing one's weaknesses and frailties. The example of the humility of Musa Al-Islam is an excellent model for us. Power can corrupt and lead people to commit atrocities and injustices. Protection against corruptive power can be found in being sincere and genuine in one's desire to serve others. In each story, the conflict between good and evil is clear. The 5 types of trials are like a thread binding these stories together. The surah also features much travel, moving from place to place. The sleepers of the cave climb a mountain. The rich man and poor man walk to an orchard. Musa Al-Islam travels by foot and boat, and the adventures of Zulkarnain involve wandering from east to west with his army. All this is hinting that goodness is promised in movement and the search for Allah's gifts.